Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to completely transform the way you think about promotional products and brand loyalty. You know, every single year, businesses literally burn through millions of dollars in their marketing budgets on giveaways that do absolutely nothing to build real emotional connections with their audience. It's just a massive, silent leak in corporate spending. Well, today, we're going to break down exactly how to stop that financial bleed and start making a genuine impact. And to truly understand the scale of this problem, we're going to start by stepping into a highly relatable and very familiar hotel room scenario.
Right. Picture a weary conference attendee. It's the end of a very long, very exhausting day on the trade show floor, and they're sitting at the foot of their hotel bed just staring at a massive, chaotic pile of giveaways they've collected from various booths. Now, it's time for a high-stakes game of packing Tetris. They have to decide exactly which pieces of swag will actually make the cut and fit into their already stuffed suitcase. Think about the casualties here. That cheap plastic pen that stopped writing an hour ago? Tossed. The neon, poorly sized t-shirt? Left behind. The squishy foam stress ball that's already crumbling? Straight into the bin. So, does your company's promotional items survive this brutal elimination round, or does it just become hotel room debris?
Because honestly, here is the harsh, undeniable reality of that elimination round. Welcome to the closet of shame, the final resting place for promotional items handed out without a coherent strategy. If your company's swag gets left behind in a hotel trash can or abandoned on a housekeeper's cart, that is quite literally your hard-earned marketing budget being set on fire. It's wasted money, pure and simple. You paid for the item, you paid to ship it to the event, and you paid your team to hand it out, all for it to end up in a landfill before the attendee even catches their flight home.
So how do we actually fix this massive leak in the budget? I'd like to introduce you to Ruth and Mike, who is also affectionately known as Buzz. They're the expert tchotchke concierge team from Storyteller Promotions. Their entire mission is to help you put a permanent end to this waste. See, they don't just hand you a catalog of random items. Instead, they act as strategic partners, diving deep into your brand's unique story and audience. By really understanding who you're trying to reach, they help you curate the exact promotional products that people actually want to keep, eagerly pack in their suitcases, and proudly take home.
Working with Storyteller Promotions requires a massive mindset shift. It's the stark difference between blindly buying cheap, disposable giveaways just to check a box and have something, anything on the trade show table, versus taking the time to curate truly purposeful products. Think about the feeling of receiving something thoughtful. When you hand someone an item that genuinely aligns with a meaningful brand experience, it just feels completely different to them. You're not just giving them another generic water bottle, you're handing them a tangible piece of your story, something they'll actually use and value.
Now, Michael J. Mullen offers a core philosophy that really drives this entire shift. He says a brand is far more than just a logo. It's a living, breathing entity with values, standards, and a deeply rooted purpose. So think about what happens when your swag is just your logo slapped on a cheap, flimsy piece of plastic that breaks on day two. You aren't just wasting money, you're actively harming your brand's perceived value. You are subconsciously telling that potential client that your company's standards are low, completely failing to communicate what your brand actually stands for.
Exceptional companies, the ones that build unshakable long-term loyalty. They don't just focus on what they do. A lot of businesses know exactly what they do. An accounting firm does taxes. A software company writes code. That's the what. But the truly great, memorable companies focus deeply on why they do it. The why is your single, clearly articulated purpose. Maybe your why is empowering small business owners to sleep better at night. And when you communicate your why effectively, even through the physical items curated by your tchotchke concierge, you connect with people on a much more human, lasting level.
So what actually creates that powerful why? It really comes down to true brand loyalty, but probably not the kind you're initially thinking of. Brand loyalty isn't just about repeat business. It's definitely not about someone choosing your product simply because you happen to be the cheapest or the fastest option on a Tuesday afternoon. That's just convenience. Real brand loyalty is an emotional connection that completely transcends transactions. It's about customers feeling a personal, deeply rooted connection to your story, so much so that they wouldn't dream of going anywhere else, even for a lower price.
But here's the critical part. To build this kind of unshakable loyalty externally with your customers, you first have to build it internally with your own team. And that brings us to the massive difference between completing tasks and fulfilling roles. Tasks are just mindlessly doing a job. An employee who views their job as a mere task is going to blindly hand out cheap swag at a booth without a second thought. But an employee who understands their role, that is living a purpose. They'll use a curated piece of promotional gear as a conversation started to tell a story and build a genuine human connection.
The secret to unlocking these purposeful roles really comes down to the fundamental difference between training and education. It's an incredibly simple but powerful distinction. While you train employees on the procedures, the step-by-step how of the job, like operating a register or software, you absolutely must educate them on the purpose, the why behind the company's existence. When your team intimately knows the greater purpose behind their daily actions, they evolve from being mere workers clocking in and out into true, empowered brand ambassadors.
Now, when your team is deeply educated on your why, they truly become the foundation of your business. Let's move on to see how this builds into the 3 core elements that bring any brand to life, regardless of its size or industry.
Michael J. Mallon explains that these 3 crucial levers are people, places, and processes. In a practical sense, your people are the human faces interacting with the world. Your places are the physical storefronts or digital websites where the experience actually happens, and your processes are the internal systems that dictate how smoothly things run. These are the specific tools leadership has to consciously use to communicate their brand's purpose. Because if your people, your spaces, or your operational processes are even slightly out of alignment with your core values, your message gets incredibly muddy very quickly. Think about that very first pillar, people. Everyone is somebody's someone. It is a stunningly simple phrase, but man, it carries immense weight. It reminds us that human beings are at the absolute heart of any successful brand. Whether it's the person handing out a curated gift at a conference or the person calling customer support frustrated with a problem, treating every single individual with that profound level of respect and intention changes the entire dynamic of how your business operates. And remember, your people are divided into 2 highly distinct groups. You have your internal customers, meaning your employees, and your external customers, the people buying your product. Listen, you absolutely cannot buy external loyalty if you haven't earned internal loyalty first. Your employees are your very first audience. Their unwavering belief in your mission directly dictates the consistency of the experience they're going to deliver to the outside world. Simply put, if the internal team isn't buying into your story, the external customer definitely won't either.
Furthermore, the physical and digital places your brand lives in must relentlessly reinforce your core promise. Everything from the cleanliness of a retail store to the ease of your website matters. And your processes? They have to be empowered by purpose and built for the extremes. Think about a customer trying to get support during the busiest day of a massive convention. If they have a problem under extreme stress, your process shouldn't make their life harder with endless red tape. It should seamlessly solve the issue in a way that emphatically proves your brand values.
Which brings us to this fantastic, highly memorable concept, delivering the golden hubcap. This means being deeply, intensely conscious of the show you are putting on for your audience every single day. A golden hubcap is giving your customers an unexpected, delightful experience they didn't even know they needed. It's going that extra mile in a way that completely surprises them, permanently cementing their loyalty. And going right back to where we started, a perfectly curated, highly useful piece of swag from your Tchotchke concierge can absolutely be that golden hubcap moment for a weary traveler.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one vital question to ask yourself today. What unexpected, delightful experience are you currently providing your customers? How can you partner with the Tchotchke concierge team at Storyteller Promotions to finally ditch the swag waste for good? Align your people, places, and processes, and deliver your very own golden hubcap. Find your why, tell your story, and create purposeful experiences that your customers will always make room for in their suitcase. Thanks for learning with me today.